Over the past 2 years, I have been extremely torn with my PlayStation. If I were going to say this generation of consoles was underwhelming or lackluster, it'd be a pretty ironic statement to make because this is also the best time the technology has ever been. We have 60 FPS, 4K graphics, we have practically everything we want in these consoles. So why does this generation feel so underwhelming? Why does it feel so underwhelming to have a PlayStation 5, to have an Xbox, when PC is doing that stuff a lot better, a lot more affordable, and giving you more options? Hell, even Nintendo, which I will say, with the 7 year of the Nintendo Switch still going strong, probably have more to promise and more to offer than PlayStation or Xbox right now. And that says a lot. And there's a lot of irony with that, because it just goes back to the old saying that it's not about the graphics or the hardware. It's about the games. It's about the experience. It's about being able to play your games wherever and however you like. And that has always been, I think, the biggest key factor as to why the Nintendo Switch does so well, why the Steam Deck is killing it, is the Steam Deck has now been able to enter a market where anybody who was strictly a console gamer, who did not like the idea of playing mouse and keyboard, who didn't know how the PC works or didn't really care about PC gaming that much, it gave them a market that they can carve into and give a console-like experience on the go, and offering high-fidelity games at obviously a cut resolution, and offering pretty much a whole lot of options to players. Hell, not even Sony really does that. So PlayStation 5, you have to sit down at your chair, your couch, or whatever, and play games. You can't really take anything else where you go unless you use their PS Portal or one of the streaming options. So that's besides the point. This leads into why I'm talking about this and why I think it's so prevalent to the PlayStation 5 Pro right now, PS5 Pro, is because we have got so accustomed to having such great experiences over the years that I don't think there is much left that I can think of that they can offer besides better games. And what's interesting is, with all the upscale technology, with the fidelity and frame rates and all that, and resolution, that's all that they can ever boast and talk about right now, because their IPs are already fantastic. It's like they shot their shot way too soon, at the wrong time. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm just trying to dissect as to why I think this generation has been so underwhelming, right? And some say that maybe it's just because I'm getting older. Maybe it's because I'm a 32-year-old gamer. I've been playing games since I was the age of 5, and having these experiences, it's changed my perspective on how I see things. But at the same time, I just don't buy that entirely. I think it's a multitude of things. But to get into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is the PS5 Pro, there was a 10-minute presentation by Mark Cerny, I think that's his name, Mark Cerny or whatever, who went over the details. Looked like he was trying to give an Apple presentation, and basically listed out all of the cool benefits of buying a PlayStation 5 Pro, saying, hey, we got high resolution, high frame rates, comparing the old PlayStation to the newer PlayStation, trying to sell you on the idea that you should buy the new PlayStation. But I think what's interesting about this is that Sony is doing a really good job, and you can see this as a positive or a negative depending on how you view this. But Sony is doing a really good job in this video of showing me why I don't need to upgrade. That if I have a PlayStation 5 already, I am already good to go. There's really no reason to. The PlayStation 5 is so damn powerful right now as a console. It's not like obviously powerful than a PC, but it's powerful enough to the point where most people who are playing these games on their PlayStation, unless you're like a really anal person about it, I highly doubt that a lot of people when they buy a PlayStation 5 are looking at the fidelity and the graphics and saying, ooh, this looks awesome. Your typical gamer doesn't really care about this, right? Ooh, the games look a little bit prettier. But the other thing I just seem to not understand about this presentation is all those experiences and all those games are games we already played. We already had those for the past 4 years. So what new thing is Sony offering that they can offer? They can't offer anything else that I could think of, except maybe competing back with the handheld market and putting out an actual proper handheld that allows you to play PlayStation games up until the most recent. But Sony's not going to do that. Sony's not going to really do that. And then when they kick you off with the price and they kick you off what you're getting, it's a slap in the face to anybody that wants to upgrade because they're going to have to shell out more money. The price of the PlayStation 5 Pro is $700, $699 before taxes. And it doesn't even include a disk drive, which is a fundamental thing that your base model had since the beginning. And it's not including the vertical stand. So for $600, $700, you want me to spend, at least I'm getting 2 terabytes of storage. And that's going to get into another point that I'm going to bring up when it comes to storage here in a minute. But like, a lot of times when people sell you something, they're selling you on storage. When you look at technology and you look at your computer, you look at your iPhones, you look at your tablets, and I'm gonna get into the comparison here in a minute. There's a reason I'm bringing this shit up. But like, when you look at the storage of 2 terabytes, you can even pick up, I think, a 2 terabyte hard drive at GameStop or Best Buy for about $200, or get one of those external SSDs, whatever. But the games themselves already take up a huge chunk of space. So really what they're charging you on is the storage, but removing and stripping off the use of the disk drive. So if you were some dude who bought the original PS5 and you wanted to play all your physical collection that you've bought over the years, you can't do it unless you spend an extra $80 for the disk drive. Yes, that shit's gonna be $80 before taxes. Oh, you wanna like hook your PS vertical stand? That's another probably what, $100 or $50 or something like that, or just whatever. And they're just nickel and diming you. And not to mention that if you get into this ecosystem of being an all digital console person, I understand that the Steam Deck is all digital as well, but that's besides the point. But if you get into this whole situation of being all digital person, you're going to be spending more money on shit you don't actually own. You don't actually own any of your digital titles. It's just a way to lock you into their ecosystem and lock you into the whole idea of spending more money with Sony. Going back to the storage options and why I mentioned Apple is because I know some people are going to be out there trying to compare apples to oranges with a smartphone being $1,200, $1,500, and people are like, why do gamers have such a hard time justifying $700 for a new console, but they have no problems justifying the cost of buying a $1,500 smartphone? And the reasoning for this is because when you buy a $1,500 smartphone or a $1,500 laptop or $2,000 PC, you're getting pretty much more than just a gaming console. You are, with your phone, by spending $1,000 plus on your iPhone every year, if you to do that. Not saying that's a smart move. I actually think that we're in a trajectory where you're going to spend less on technology as time goes on and as quote-unquote inflation tends to rise. But if you really think about that for a second, you can't make that comparison because your smartphone does a whole lot more than what your fucking PlayStation can do. Put that in perspective. Put that into perspective for a second. Your phone has the ability to surf the internet, you surf the browser, you do all this other cool stuff. You can play games, mobile games on it. It's supposed to be more of a tool that you put on your tool belt. Your console, your PlayStation 5 is going to sit below your TV shelf, and you're going to use it exclusively to play video games. So that is why I think that you can't compare a smartphone pricing model to a PlayStation pricing model. And I think, like, when you look at the cheaper options, I don't necessarily think that Sony doing this is a bad idea, but what I am going to say, I think what Sony doesn't want to do is, if Sony doesn't want to feel like, they don't want to make it feel like you have to upgrade if you are happy with the current console as it is. I just think most of the games that have been releasing lately have released from PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and now they're just going to be souped up on the PlayStation 5 Pro. There has not really been an excuse to upgrade, hence why I'm losing my faith in Sony. Hence why I have not really any option as to why the fuck I want to buy a PlayStation. Why I'm less excited about the PlayStation and the Xbox this year is because there's no exclusive experiences that I am buying for this particular console. Here's how I would have priced it. Here's how I would have priced the whole thing. I don't know why they couldn't just copy what they did with the PlayStation 4 Pro, but what they could have done is they could have maybe made it $100 more, or maybe $50 to $75 more for the Pro version, and kept the disk drive, and then just add more storage. I think that would have been a more solid buy, because anybody that had the PS5 original can turn around and be like, well, okay, I might as well just sell my original one and buy the PS5 Pro, or give another option to somebody else who couldn't necessarily afford the actual price. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm feeling very much disappointed with Sony lately, and Xbox isn't that much better. But I think what's interesting is, as we get better gaming experiences, and as each gaming experience improves, there's less marginally to add that's worth it. If you go back and played PS2 titles, the jump from PS2 to PS3 was great. PS3 was probably the last greatest console that Sony had actually made. Some people are going to argue that. I say PS4 technically was the last one for me, but the jump becomes marginally smaller. So instead of going from a huge jump from PS3 to PS4, or the huge jump from PS2 to PS4, now you're just jumping one step at a time. Which goes back to the experiences, to like why graphics, processing power, at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. It's the games, it's the experience. I don't know how often I need to beat that dead horse in, but people play games for the games. They don't really look that deep into the graphics as a content creator does, or a tech snob. Yes, I can't believe I used the word tech snob, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm pretty much done with this video. If you guys enjoyed this commentary, let me know what you guys think about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Are you going to pick one up? Are you interested in it? Or is it just going to be one of those things that you're going to avoid? Because I am right now I'm disappointed. I'm absolutely disappointed. It is pathetic. It is absolutely sad. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.